Apple and Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC, are pouring billions into U.S. manufacturing, reshaping the future of semiconductor production. But how do tariffs factor into the shift? And could these investments outperform the CHIPS Act? We break it all down. Stay tuned.
Moving forward, we're talking Apple, TSMC. Gary, you're saying that this needs to be included when we're talking about discussions around tariffs. Thing number 3, Gary, Apple and TSMC investments, a game changer, you're calling it, for U.S. manufacturing.
So, Rob, what's happened is, as President Trump has put tariffs in place, it's created an incentive for corporations to manufacture inside the United States. Recent announcements in the tech field have been unbelievable. Apple has committed to investing $500 billion, that's $500 billion, into research and AI chip production over the next 5 years. That would create tens of thousands of new jobs. TSMC, that stands for Taiwan Semiconductor, they are the world's best semiconductor manufacturer. They make all of the AMD chips. They make chips for NVIDIA. They make the best GPUs in the world. It's their NVIDIA designs, but Taiwan Semi does the manufacturing. Their plan is to invest an additional $100 billion for a total of $165 billion into U.S. manufacturing to capitalize on already remarkable production efficiency within the U.S. That's going to include 3 new fabrication plants, 2 advanced packaging facilities, a major R&D center, and that will support over 40,000 new construction jobs. Saudi Arabia is investing $600 billion. The Stargate project, which was announced about a month ago, is $500 billion, $500 billion. There are some open questions on the funding for that, but we'll see what happens. SoftBank's looking at $100 billion. So reversing 4 decades of outsourcing is not going to be fast, but this is a pretty good start in just, a few months.
Based on this, Gary, what does this mean for tariffs? Are they working? Are they a good idea? Does that change any positioning that you have there?
So, Rob, I think that's the great question. And the answer, if you're really being honest, is I don't know. And anybody who tells you they do know is being dishonest. We don't know what the effect of all of this is going to be. What I would like to see would be a more honest conversation where people acknowledge the strengths of arguments being made on the other side. So one of the things that I'm seeing is the people who are in favor of tariffs are busy saying, well, this is going to create jobs. That may be true, but they're ignoring the fact that at least temporarily, at a minimum temporarily, there are going to be price increases. We will be seeing some more inflation. And, it is creating a certain amount of stress and difficulty, and it's basically a tax increase. And that's difficult for an economy, a private sector economy that's not doing so great and hasn't been for the last year or two. But the people who are anti-tariff ignore all of the construction we just talked about, all of the jobs. And I just outlined a couple $1 trillion of hard construction and investment in United States manufacturing. We're looking at tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of jobs here, and these should be hopefully good jobs. I think, certainly better than, some of the lower end service jobs. So these are huge benefits. And from that side, they're just saying, well, but, it's a tax increase and it's going to create more inflation and, it's creating trade barriers. Okay. All of those things are true. But the point that I'd like to make is the issue is more complicated than most people discussing this make it seem. And, I had people, I was on Marty Bent's show last week. He was terrific. It was great talking to him about this. And, some of the comments were people saying, wow, this is really interesting. I hadn't thought about it this way. Other people were saying, well, if you're going to argue in favor of tariffs, you're an idiot and I don't need to listen to anything you have to say. Again, just dismissing the point of view. And I'm not really arguing for it or against it. What I'm saying is this is a complicated issue. It's going to take years to figure out if it's possible to reverse 4 decades of manufacturing outsourcing. And if we can do so efficiently and in a way that creates value for the American people. But I would just like to see the people who are discussing this and debating this and arguing this acknowledge the good points on the other side, acknowledge this is a complicated topic, and talk about the the benefits and the weaknesses of both sides of this. And that's what we're trying to do here. Basically what we're saying is there are problems with the idea of putting up trade barriers and taxes and tariffs. But the other side of that is if you get a couple $1 trillion of investments and a couple 100,000 jobs, and it improves our self-sufficiency. Some of these are national security issues too. We can't rely on China for all of our chips. So I just think that needs to be part of the conversation, and it's going to take some time to figure out whether it worked out well or poorly.
Very interesting there, Gary. And like Gary said, if you have agreed, disagreed, let us know. Leave it in the comments. Tell us why. We love the engagement.